watching my own stream, which is sad, but I'm trying to make sure that it's good quality. I will wake up my parents and like how to get grounded. I have to go to school today as well. Why am I even streaming? This is my first stream and I'm doing it before I go to school with this. Well, honestly, predictions real quick. Gino, according to Sabi, that's everything I'm pointing to. And let's read the comments real quick. Ooh, okay, so there'll be people over here be saying, Mike or Steve, the real Sans, the Dory may be Elon Musk, Doom Guy, Waluigi, the Knight, what? Mario and Smash, yeah, let's go, we don't have him yet. No, I don't want Dante. It's probably what we're gonna get, but I don't want Dante. You know what? That's not what I needed. Okay, yeah, I know. This stream is not going good right now. What is this? Is it good? Is my good? Is it? I don't know. Well, let's roll back to this. Let me go check out my Discord server real quick. Alright, we got 3 minutes left. Come on, Sakurai. Cringy picture. It's all good though. It's all good. We got family. Got my cheap little mic right here. That's right. You know what Mr. PewDiePie himself said? It's not about the quality of the product or how much you spend on equipment. Okay. It's how you do it. And let me just say, I suck at both. I thought my friend was gonna join us in the stream, but apparently not. You know what? It's alright. It's alright. Yep, that's right, people. Alright, Peppa Pig, of course. You know, Sora maybe. Place your bets. Ooh, how many people we got on the stream? I bet it's just myself. That's right. That's right, boy. That's right. Alright, so we just gonna like sit here awkwardly real quick. We got 2 minutes left. I'm gonna give myself a thumbs up, and that way I can feel good about myself. Am I even loud enough? If you guys turn your volume up, you could hear me. It's all good. It's all good, you know. Just get rid of that. There you go. This usually be me in the morning, bro. Just like waking up, trying to watch a video here. Damn, I'm gonna be lonely for the stream. First one, not gonna be the greatest one. Alright? People will just go easy on me, damn it. What was this? Alright, JoJo, let's go, bro. Oh my god, it started.
Hello everyone, I'm Masahiro Sakurai, director of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate from Sora Limited. We'll be using today's showcase to give you a first look at our next DLC fighter. Actually, hardly anyone knows what we'll be announcing today, even among Nintendo staff worldwide. The development team and other stakeholders have been working on this fighter with the utmost secrecy. which means other Nintendo staff around the globe will only start making preparations for release after the showcase has been broadcast. So it won't be available right away. Please understand that it will take a little time. I think even many Nintendo employees will be surprised to see this and say, "Wow, really?" So, let's all share in the fun of getting our hands on the latest information. However, even if you say, "That's not the character I was picturing," I hope you don't have any hard feelings. We've prepared a fighter reveal video. Once it starts, I think you'll figure out who it is pretty quickly. Now, let's do this.
Ooh, bro.
The time has finally come to unleash the forbidden spell of Zaharat upon our enemies!
Wait, so that picture he sent me was real? No joke. He's like... He be sending us pictures like that.
What were you thinking, charging right into an enemy's trap? As you and I are one, I too am trapped within this void. In time, our hearts and minds will cease to be. Are you prepared to die?
No. I mean, yes.
I thought as much. I also do not wish to die. And yet... there is no other choice. You must join Smash.
Huh?
Join Smash Brothers already! What in the world are you waiting for?
So joining Smash consumes even the darkness itself!
So you return, and sooner than expected. I see. Too many swordsmen, are there? And you wield the sword as well? What will you do?
Of course, bro.
Huh. So that is how you plan to win the day? So be it. I reward your cleverness this time. How is this? Of anyone, you should be able to handle the hero's relics. With Areadbhar, strike with superior reach. Use Amir's overwhelming power. Unleash the blinding speed of Failnaught. Along with the sword of the creator, each weapon matches a direction. Your will and mine be now as one! To you, both sides of time are revealed! Through Smash, show the world!
Bro, this is...
Yes, there you have it. Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses is joining the battle. Fire Emblem Three Houses was released just last summer, so it's still very new. Even so, you'll soon be able to play as them in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This release is planned for January 28th. You'll have instant access if you have the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighters Pass, and it will also be available for purchase individually. In case you're not familiar with Fire Emblem or Three Houses, I'll explain a few things, so don't worry. First off, what is Fire Emblem? It's really hard to pronounce in Japanese. The producer said it's okay if I just say Fire Emblem. But when writing it, if you don't write Fire Emblem, the Fire Emblem police will come and get you, so please be careful. The series' first entry launched in Japan on the Famicom in 1990. You could say it was a pioneer in the genre of tactical role-playing games. You might be wondering what makes it particularly tactical. Well, it's tactical in that it simulates combat. You can think of it as moving pieces in a board game, or in other words, a game in which you advance units across a grid and battle. When we talk about tactical games of that era, there were lots of ones in which you command tanks, aircrafts, and so on. But Fire Emblem was unique because each unit was a specific character, sort of like in role-playing games. Plus, something made it stand out from other Nintendo products. Characters could permanently die. That's pretty direct language though, so perhaps we should just say they're sleeping with the fishes. But really, if a character fell in battle, you'd lose that unit. They'd be gone and you couldn't use them again. Recent entries in the series maintain this concept of permadeath to some degree in classic mode and what have you, but a lot of games now allow strategic withdrawals, so to speak. In the older games, your units would really be gone, never to be mentioned again. Scary. The game's stories are told like chronicles of war, with increasingly distinct characters and engrossing scenarios. Several characters also appear in the Super Smash Bros. Series, and 6 of the 7 can use a counterattack. It's their down special. There's actually a reason for this. When I was considering how to incorporate Fire Emblem fighters into Super Smash Bros. Melee, I thought it might be interesting to reflect the turn-based nature of the original game. First comes your opponent's turn. They attack and you counter. Next comes your turn. And now, Fire Emblem Three Houses is the 17th game in the series. People who aren't Japanese in particular might be thinking, 17 games? There are that many? Well, if you include Fire Emblem Heroes in the remakes, but you don't include the Satellaview game, Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, and Fire Emblem Warriors, then it comes out to 17 games. Let's try saying them in the Fire Emblem Can You Say It challenge. I'll give it a try.
暗黒竜と光の剣、外伝、紋章の謎、聖戦の系譜、トラキア776、封印の剣、烈火の剣、聖魔の功績、草原の奇跡、暁の女神、新暗黒竜、新紋章、覚醒イフ、ヒーローズ、エコーズ、風化雪月。
There you go, 17.
今、変な数え方してます。
So you saw how I was counting in a weird way, right? I was counting in binary. This is 0. Fold this here and you get 1, and then you get 2, then 2 plus 1 equals 3. So this would be 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then you get 16. Add 1 and you get 17. Awesome, isn't it? You can actually count up to 31 on one hand. And if you use both hands, you can count all the way up to 1023. If you've given up counting the knots in a tatami mat, you could always give it a go. What is Fire Emblem Three Houses? In Japanese, the male version of the main character is called Bereto and the female version is called Beresu, but in English they share the same name, Byleth. Byleth becomes a professor who ends up leading one of 3 academic houses. Once you've chosen a house, you guide them through their school life and, well, you end up fighting the other houses. After a certain incident, 5 years pass, and you meet up with your grown-up students to battle against the other houses in their regions. It's a very sad game in which your former allies become enemies, turn hostile, and try to kill you. To understand the concept of Fire Emblem Three Houses, I played an early version of the game before its release. I've done the same thing before, with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, for example, because I couldn't wait until launch to experience it, or we'd have never made it in time. For that title, I borrowed an early version of the game for 2 days, ran around all the areas, saw the ending, and realized for the first time, I guess we can't really have Breath of the Wild's Princess Zelda as a fighter. I did the same this time, but with there being 3 houses and multiple endings, it was really hard to get a feel for it. And of course, there weren't any walkthroughs I could reference. The game has multiple routes, and the outcome of each is very different. Your experience will vary depending on the route you choose, and many of the characters you meet will adopt different roles in the story. I'll try to avoid spoilers when I'm talking about the fighter. I hope you'll understand. Before my demonstration, I should point out that when I did the Terry Bogard showcase video, I mentioned that it was recorded a month in advance. But this time, we have to account for the holidays and such, so we're filming 2 months in advance of this video's release. Right now, it's actually November. Therefore, some of what I'm about to show you might differ a bit from the finished version. As always, I'm using a special in-game camera and such for demonstration purposes. Here I go. So this is our new fighter, Byleth. Sadly, they're lacking in mobility. It's maybe a bit better than Robin's, but that's about all you can say for them. Throws are not their strong point either. Their grab lacks range. But actually, you could say that they're distance demon. The hero's relic they use changes depending on the direction you input with the stick. Each of the hero's relics is a weapon that appears in Fire Emblem Three Houses. They look like bones, and there's a reason for that. First, let's talk about the weapon Byleth uses for upward inputs, the Sword of the Creator. The Sword of the Creator here is Byleth's default weapon. They use it for flurry attacks and tilt attacks, such as down tilt attacks, where it takes the form of a whip. They also use the sword for dash attacks and other moves. For their up smash attack, they'll whip the sword upward to launch enemies in the air. For their up air attack, they'll wave the whip sword overhead. The hit detection for this attack lasts for a relatively long time. The up special move is really something. The sword extends like this, allowing you to do things like this. It was pretty terrifying how I knocked him into the air with that attack. And in addition, you can do awful things like this. That said, you'll launch opponents upward until their damage reaches a certain percentage. Exceed that percentage and you'll need to be careful. You may find it helpful to mid-air dodge. I've already shown this, but you can also use it to latch onto edges. So that's the up special. Now for the sideways inputs. This is Areadbhar, the same name as the weapon from Celtic mythology. First, we'll go through the forward and back air attacks. As you can see, they have a long reach. Like so. Marth's air attack keeps opponents in check too, right? If Byleth does the same thing, you'd win out, so you should be able to beat it. Next, the side smash attack. This also has a long range. It'll connect even from here. Also, if you add an upward tilt, it will be stronger. And if you've knocked an opponent down, the side attack won't hit unless you add a downward tilt to aim for them. By the way, the tip of the lance is more powerful. The shaft part is weaker, so it's not suited to close combat. It won't deal much damage, and it won't launch opponents far. That's why, as a rule, you want to hit with the blade part aimed upward, or downward in this case. Next, the side special move. Byleth will simply swing the lance like this, but again, it has excellent reach. For example, even when your opponent is at this distance, it'll still hit. Actually, you can do a smash attack to charge forward a little, like this. But as you'd expect, it can be easily shielded, so be careful. Use it in midair and you'll carve up a large area. Returning to the side air attacks from earlier, they have great horizontal reach, but they lack verticality. So this complements it well, although you'll be vulnerable when you land. Now, for the downward inputs. For these, Byleth will use an axe called Emir. It's named after a weapon that appears in Ugaritic myth. First, the down air attack. It really is strong. You can try for a meteor effect with this attack. Next is the down smash attack. A heavy swing of the axe back and forth. As you can see, it has a great deal of launch power. And for the down special, Byleth channels all their energy into a devastating strike. It's a bold move, similar to the Falcon Punch, but here's what makes it different. When readying the move, there's a super armor effect, which allows you to withstand an attack. Just so you know, if you execute a Falcon Punch at about the same time, it plays out like this. It's a bit slower than the Falcon Punch, but due to the super armor effect, you have the advantage. Unless you get grabbed. Another notable aspect is that it lets you pass through platforms. While you're charging up, you can breeze past platforms like this to reach a lower area. It won't let you jump, but you could use it as a surprise attack. Also, you can turn around during the move. The swing takes a while, so if an opponent runs behind you during the move, you can quickly change direction. Even though it can be hard to land a hit with this move, it can be really effective when used against a group of opponents. Plus, even if you fail to land a direct hit, any opponents on the ground nearby will still be launched a little. It's as if the quaking of the ground launches them. By the way, earlier I talked a little bit about the other Fire Emblem characters' moves. I don't recommend using this down special against fighters from the Fire Emblem series, because you'll just get loads of counters. It hits with that much power in a single attack. Counters can actually multiply the power of blocked attacks, and using easily anticipated attacks like this could just get you hit by counter after counter. Next, we have the neutral moves. The bow you use is called Failnaught, which shares its name with the bow from the Knights of the Round Table. It only appears in a few neutral moves. You've got the neutral air attack. This attack is similar to a move of Pit's and other fighters like him. It lets you spin the weapon around. It's also easy to create certain combos with it. And with the neutral special, you'll let loose an arrow. It seems pretty straightforward, right? But there are a few noteworthy aspects to this bow. First, the biggest difference between this bow and Link's is that once you enter the command, you can keep charging until it's ready. You can't release it partway through the charge, so when it does fire, the arrow travels at high speed. It's also very powerful. That said, you can still cancel out of the stance using the shield button. You can also change direction while in the stance. It works up until this point, but if you keep holding the button, you'll unleash a powerful arrow that looks like a beam of light. You can perform this move by keeping the button held down. You charge up power like so, charge a bit more, and then fire. But again, you'll need to take care when using this move. For one, when you've powered up the move to its max, there's no way to cancel out of it, not even with the shield button. In other words, you're committed to firing it. So you see, a situation like this is pretty terrible. Once you've entered the stand, you won't be able to do anything. Which means it's quite the risky attack to use against fighters who have a move with a reflector effect. But you could always just aim into the fray, as it is, after all, a long-range move, letting you deal a sudden blow to opponents. So you need to think carefully when using this projectile weapon. Byleth's final smash is called Progenitor God Ruptured Heaven. In the original game, there's a move called Ruptured Heaven. This is an enhanced version. As you can see, you team up with the mysterious Sothis and launch an attack together. Now, let's talk about the color variations. It's set up so that the default and odd-numbered color variations are male, while the even-numbered ones are female. However, the third, fourth, and fifth colors are, as you can see, reminiscent of the house leaders. Those of you who played the original game will of course understand what I'm referring to. The sixth color is based on Sothis, who you just saw earlier. And the seventh and eighth variations have a different hair color, which is based on something that occurs in the course of the original game's story. Didn't we see this variation in the final smash? Next, I'll introduce the stage. For this one, we of course tried to recreate the place where you spend most of the game, Areadbhar Monastery. This is how Areadbhar Monastery is laid out in the original game. From these, we chose to have it cycle through the marketplace, reception hall, bridge, and cathedral all in one stage. It's the type of stage that rotates through different areas, such as these four. Let me introduce each of the guests that appear in these four areas. The first area is the marketplace. I think this is where a lot of people come to do their shopping. The guests that appear here are students of the Blue Lion's house, Dimitri, Dedu, and Ingrid. Not Dimitri, Dudu, or Ingrid. Their names are a bit difficult to say. They're largely from the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. Since it's a kingdom, that means they have a monarchy. For that reason, I guess you could say Dimitri's the future king. He had quite a difficult life and may or may not end up with just one eye. He's an unfortunate one, that one. There are vendors on either side. In the original game, these are important booths where you buy all sorts of things, but here you can break them, you see. If you do break them, the stage will expand to the left and right. I wonder where people will buy their supplies now. And in the background, you can see the gatekeeper. You often pass through this area in Fire Emblem 3 houses, and you end up talking to him a lot. Moving through these areas is possible thanks to this mysterious platform. Just when it seems like you've come to a stop, you'll come crashing back down. You've broken through the ceiling and slammed into the building. And the guests in the reception hall are Edelgard, Dorothea, and Petra of the Black Eagles. Take note, it's not spelled Edelgard. They're from the Adressian Empire. And as such, they embrace their military might. Edelgard is one of the characters who is central to the conflict. Depending on the path you take, she'll go through some terrible ordeals. You'll notice there are prominent chandeliers above the stage. it's possible to knock them down.
だけど残念ながらこれ
However, Byleth can't actually reach it, even though it's their stage. You can reach it with other fighters, though.
だから
So, it's nice if you can work your way up there by getting lucky and being launched up, or perhaps by using another fighter as a stepping stone. There we go, I made it. And you can knock it down.
ついでに言うと
Also, you can break this table. Like so.
通学場ステージ
Just like the sign that reads Furin Kazan in the Suzaku Castle stage, it can break if you launch the opponent into it at close range.
ということになっています
Next up, the bridge. The camera rotates 90 degrees, creating this long area. It's very wide indeed.
結構横幅も広いんです
It's similar to the bridge of Elden stage.
ゲストはヒルシュ
The guests are from the Golden Deer, Claude, Hilda, and Lawrence.
これはレスター
They belong to the Leicester
人
Alliance.
々ですね諸行同盟ということはまあつまり連邦とか連合とかそういうような感じで
Because it's an alliance of many noble families, you could say that they have a wide assortment of members. And Claude is the sharpest of the bunch. Incidentally, both Claude and Hilda are the names of characters that appear in Genealogy of the Holy War, the 4th title in the Fire Emblem series. I guess once you've reached the 17th game and are creating 40 characters for each new entry, you're bound to get a bit of name overlap. The naming process must be tough. Hey, it looks like the Pegasus Knight is busy training. As for the bridge's design, it's just a long pathway, plain and simple. You can expect plenty of blows to be exchanged at the edges of the screen. You could also say it's a place where the Failnaught really shines, and in this sense, I think it suits the Golden Deer perfectly. The last area is the Cathedral, only with some platforms you can pass through. The guests appearing in the Cathedral are Sedith, Flayn, and Rhea. There's Sedith, who appears to have an extremely strong bond with his sister, Flayn. She seems to be under the protection of him and Rhea, who you can see fighting during the opening of Fire Emblem Three Houses. All three have character quirks related to their true identities. I feel that Flayn might be saying shush at this point, so I'll leave it at that. This is a simple area of the stage. All it has are these platforms. Being the last area, it may be a place where some intense battles will be waged. It'll cycle through each location in about 2.5 minutes. Okay, today we'll have a tag team battle in Squad Strike with the DLC team pitted against Fire Emblem protagonists from throughout the ages. That'll give us precisely 5 players per side. Alright, here we go, Joker. Joker! And Hero! Gee, we really made a lot, huh? Banjo! By now, I think you know what I'm doing. But basically, I'm trying to defeat all 5 opponents with just the Professor here. But as expected, it's going to be a pretty tough battle, so I'm using anything I can get my hands on. It's not going to land that easily. Uh-oh, this is bad. Bennigan's. I better keep my distance. I'll use this chance to attack. Got him. That's scary. He's invincible for a moment here. Lots of explosives. Ouch. He perfect shielded that, huh? Good one. If I do this, or like so. No anti-air, huh? There, the soccer ball connected. Good, there's Mom. You're in a good spot, Mom. Ah, I shouldn't have taken that. Gardevoir. Well, I guess no one uses projectiles. At this point, it doesn't matter if Gardevoir's there or not. I feel like the enemy might get this smash ball. See? They got it. But I mustn't give up. I can't waste this chance. There's another smash ball. Yes, got it. Now! What are you charging up for? There's still more. Whack! Go on, you can take the hammer, but it's mine. Although I'm scared I might get hit with a counter in this state. I hit him! I was trying to fight using Byleth's abilities alone, but what matters is that I won. Good game. It can be fun to play like this, especially in tag team, so I think it's a good idea to try imposing different types of challenges on yourself. The end. Now, about the additional music. Since it's from the Fire Emblem series, we'll be adding each of the new tracks to all the Fire Emblem stages. There are already a lot of Fire Emblem tracks in the game. Our selection this time has been made taking those existing tracks into consideration. 11 songs are being added. This includes an arrangement of the main theme in both Japanese and English. I hope you'll enjoy these as well. We're also adding in a new spirit board. It includes the house leaders among some of the other popular characters. Sothis is Legend class. Also, there's a new classic mode route, a Heroic Legacy, which is designed to let you enjoy classic Fire Emblem stages from throughout the series' history. The final battle is against Master Hand and Crazy Hand, but you'll find that something pretty amusing happens, so look forward to that. Now for the Mii Fighter costumes. Please take a look.
Let's go.
This time, we're releasing a Cuphead costume. And for those of you who purchased the Cuphead costume, an additional song will be added. It's called Floral Fury, and it's the theme that plays when fighting Cagney Carnation. I hope you enjoy these as well. After purchasing a costume, I recommend using the sharing feature. If someone has created a Mii Fighter, you can play using the costume it's wearing immediately after you download it. And now, onto the amiibo. The color palette for Dark Samus looks pretty good, doesn't it? Dark Samus and Richter are planned for release on Friday, January 17th. And now, with the addition of Byleth, the Fighter's Pass is finally complete. The lineup was Joker, Hero, Banjo and Kazooie, Terry Bogard, and Byleth. From more than 70 fighters, only 5 have been added. But I must say, this game has always been an exceptional experience. And since the roster was already so large to begin with, right from the start, we intended to make the most out of the new gameplay mechanics and so on. There really were a lot of new mechanics, weren't there? When we add a new fighter, we don't simply make their attacks or their movements a little different. Instead, we try to offer you a whole new style of play. As I stated, we'll continue to release more DLC fighters down the line. I had thought that 1 or 2 might suffice, but, well, have a look. Looks like there will be one more fighter than last time. For this reason, we will be releasing the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighters Pass Volume 2. It will be available for pre-purchase on the date shown, so please keep an eye out. And now that it's official, we intend to move ahead with development. Of course, like last time, the contents will remain unknown for now, and I'm personally very sorry that we have to release Fighters Pass Volume 2 when the details have yet to be revealed. Like last time, I'd be very grateful if, despite that, you would understand why and purchase it. Furthermore, the new additions have already been decided. Even if I receive many requests regarding potential candidates on Twitter, I'm afraid it would be very hard to consider them. But I still hope you'll look forward to it. We're also including a bonus with Fighters Pass Volume 2. Last time, it was a Rex costume, but this time, here's what we have. It's a Mii Fighter costume for Mii Sword Fighter, the ancient soldier gear from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This will not be for sale individually, so it can